Okay, folks, we're here with Taylor and Paul from the Gloucester Daily Times once again for our latest update. How's everyone doing today?
Good.
Good, hanging in there.
All right, great to see you both. Another day, another dramatic story. Taylor, we noticed your article on Senior Care's Meals on Wheels.
Yes. Yeah.
Can
Yes.
That's
right
just
ahead.
a humanitarian story, right?
Right. Yeah. And kind of seeing at, right, Paul and I walked into the Rose Baker Senior Center yesterday, and it was, right, rainy day. And, you think, okay, rainy day, not many people will be out. But the Rose Baker Senior Center was, vacant. Like, no one was there. Barely, only the bare bones staff, Lucy Sheehan over the executive director, and a few other people helping out, but really no one, they're closed to the public. And so they have a few additional resources there, but really it was, helping senior care assist the people who are in need with their Meals on Wheels, which is still happening. So while the COVID-19 has really affected the city as a whole, Meals on Wheels with senior care have looked to continue their efforts to ensure that these people who are especially homebound are able to get their food not only throughout the week, but also providing them meals on the weekends. In a varying ways, and nutritious meals too. I mean, it's not just, a bagged lunch. They're really pulling out all the stops to make sure that these people get fed and fed well.
And there are a lot of people, right?
Yeah, over 500 in one day, which is crazy. And they said they're going to be packing 1,000 meals. So as of today for Friday, they're packing 1,000 meals to go out to make sure that everyone has food for the weekend, because the Meals on Wheels does not run during the weekend. And so they pack up all those meals throughout the 9 different cities and towns that they kind of cover. So, yeah.
So what could you just mention sort of the geographic area generally, Taylor? Because it's a lot.
Right. So everywhere from Rockport to Topsfield. So that's covering, right, Cape Ann, that's covering Ipswich all the way over to Topsfield. And so they have drivers who are coming. Some of them are volunteers, which, they're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. And, we were able to talk with a couple people there yesterday, and they were saying that those people are often elderly themselves, and this is what they do after they retire. And so, but they also have paid workers as well who are able to help out. And Scott Trenty, the executive director of Senior Care, said that, their contingency plan, as they continue to shift and see how things are happening with COVID-19, that if their volunteers begin to dwindle because of either, fear of getting sick themselves, or they're just needing to take less hours, that they're going to have their own staff kind of hop on board and really make sure that this does not end for these people who are in need of food.
You did a great job detailing how the protocol that they have set up for leaving the meal at the doorstep, and insisting that they make contact with the person in the home, because that's part of their service, is to make sure they're doing well, right?
Right. And I think that's the crazy thing, right? We don't often think about, these drivers, they're taking time out of their day to come and help these people get food, but they're also sometimes the only contact that they'll have in days, right? We don't think about that. You think about your family at home, but some people don't have that, or some people have limited access to that. And so they're trying to make sure that these meal deliverers are able to not only provide their meals and make contact, but do it in a way that is safe in the kind of current crisis that we're in. So I know, right, they are having their drivers have these brown bags, and in these brown bags they have gloves, they have a plastic bag to throw away their extra dirty gloves or any trash that they might have, and then they have masks. And so one question I was not able to ask that day, but I wish I had, was, right, how are they getting those masks and gloves? Because those are a rare commodity these days. And so yeah, so they're really limiting. And so they have those, and then they take the bags, they go up to the front doorstep, they leave them there, they knock, and then they're required to step back and at least make either verbal or kind of a visual contact with the person before they go to their next visitor. So that's also not only taking up, right, extra resources, but it's also taking up a lot of extra time. So these people are, pulling out all the stops to make sure that they're able to assist the people who are most in need in our community.
I want to point out too, if I'm sure they need volunteers, and if you want to be a volunteer, you can call Senior Care at 978-281-1750. They're over at Blackburn Center. So, now, Paul, have you been covering this angle as well, this story?
I have. I actually, both Taylor and I were there yesterday, and some of the photos that I got there were of this one woman, Josie Frontiero, who is basically packing meal bags for the drivers when they come in. They pick up these. Basically, they're just yesterday. Taylor could correct me on this, but I believe yesterday was not a hot meal day; it was a cold meal day, and they had these basically plastic shopping bags already pre-assembled and ready to go for the drivers. And some of the photographs that I had taken is of that, and also of one of the drivers, a woman from Rockport, who this particular driver was a paid driver, and she was basically hauling some of those meals out to her car to then head on her route. So yeah.
Did you have to take any sort of extra precautions entering the Rose Baker Senior Center to be there taking pictures? Any sort of extra sanitary precautions?
I mean, what I've been doing, at least I keep on myself, I keep hand sanitizer, and I have Clorox wipes in the car, and I just try to keep 6 feet away from each person that I'm with, and so those are the precautions I'm taking. I mean, I don't have a mask or anything like that, but that's what I've been doing. As I go into to places to cover stories like this. Same with not shaking hands, which is awkward because I'm very much a greeter type person. So I like to greet people. So few corona bumps, as they call it, here and there. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Yeah, because we talked yesterday. Your pictures yesterday were scenic and
Correct.
no people involved, but now you're in there with people taking photographs. So, Corey, do we have those pictures? Are we going to be able to post them?
Yeah, we're going to feather those in. We'll cut those in. Yeah.
Good. Right. Well, so, and are these front page of the Gloucester Times? I read it online this morning, so I didn't see what was on the front page.
Yeah, front page today was the senior center. And today I worked on a few other stories. One was a story from one of our sister publications, but because we're, in this pandemic, a lot of stories can relate to people anywhere. And this particular story was on what people are doing when they go and wash their clothes at a local laundromat. That's a public place, and a lot of people usually congregate there. And the one woman that I photographed, she happened to be one of only 2 people at Good Harbor Laundry, and she was cleaning her clothes, but she brought her disinfectant and spray, and she brought her Clorox wipes with her, and she was wiping down the counters before she folded her laundry. She also wiped down the machines before she put her clothes into there. So those are some of the images that I shot today for that. Another story that I was working on is vets. What do you do? I mean, a lot of veterinarian hospitals here on Cape Ann won't allow you to come into their offices. So what they're doing is, and this is Michael Cronin's story, what they're doing is the vet tech, which is a photo that I shot today, they're actually coming out to the parking lot. You call them when you're in the parking lot, and they'll come out and grab your pet, bring them in for whatever procedure or checkup or routine that they have for them for the day, and then they bring them out to you, either soon after, or you come back later. So
yeah, Corey actually interviewed Ray Cahill, so we had learned about that, and it's all these such simple daily elements of daily life that we took for granted, and you have to think twice, if not 3 times, about doing them now, right? Laundry, though, I had not thought about that, and so many people need to use a laundromat. Right?
Yeah, and surprisingly, I asked the woman I photographed, whose name is Tracy Palazzola from Rockport, and she said that I asked her, is this typically busier? And she said, yeah, it usually is. She says it's definitely been quieter at the laundromats. So, which is a good thing because you can obviously keep your distance. It's not packed. She says usually it's a very much like a atmosphere. They have like a table there and people will hang out and talk, and none of that was happening.
Wow.
So, Taylor, what are some of the things you're working on throughout the weekend?
Yeah, so I will be, working on Sunday and cranking out some stuff there as well as this afternoon. And one thing actually non-corona related, surprisingly, is tick season. And so I know, which is not a
Great.
whole lot better, but it's different. And so, kind of been talking to veterinarians and physicians and community members about what they're doing to kind of combat ticks this season, as especially we had a warmer winter, which we didn't have extreme cold, which means that the ticks didn't freeze, but we didn't also have complete dryness, which means that that didn't scorch them as well. So ticks are kind of projected to be a little bit heavier this year, and I found a wonderful Facebook page called Ticks Cape Ann, which I did not know about, and there are very active members on that Facebook page who are willing to speak and kind of talk about what they do and their experiences, especially having to deal with the different diseases that kind of surround that. So I'll be working on that and talking to a few more community members to see, what is their suggestions. I've heard a lot of different ones of, all the way from pulling the tick out to burning it to, doing a clockwise manner with the alcohol swab. So curious to hear what they have to say. Looking at that and then continuing to talk to the police about the community impact unit. They have started up this new unit at the police department in Gloucester to help assist community members in a lot of different ways, not only opioid related, but also kind of looking at all the different needs and all the different addictions that might be prevalent within our city and trying to assist them where they need it. And so, what better time to have a new unit like this as of now. So they're kind of shifting operations with the coronavirus, and details kind of need to be fleshed out a little bit more. So talking to them this weekend about what that looks like and how they'll be continuing to do it. They've already did some incredible work when they partner with Cops and Kids. So that's another story that I'm doing. And one thing I do want to highlight that was published in our paper yesterday, our publisher Karen Andreas did publish a letter from the publisher to kind of highlight, both for Gloucester Daily Times and also, as Paul said, our sister papers, the fact that we are still going to be around. I know there's this fear, right, as layoffs are happening across the board for restaurants and other different organizations. The question is, will papers be around? And she kind of assured in her letter that we will be around and we're sticking with it, and that we'll be here to cover the news. So if you guys are curious to hear what she has to say about that, definitely visit our website, or pick up a print edition and kind of see what Karen kind of really beautifully lays out what it looks like to be both a reporter, a photographer. What does it look like, to be delivering these papers and working on the online and editing side of things. So definitely check that out if you want to kind of know about the news and what we're doing to make sure that we're still around and reporting what we can to you guys during this very strange time.
I have never looked so forward to a tick story.
I think it's times like these that say how important the local newspaper is, and how hard you guys are working. We can hear that and see it, and thank you for doing all that hard work. It's really and it's such an important source of information. So thank you.
Taylor Bradford, Paul Bilodeau from the Gloucester Daily Times. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you very much.
See you Monday.